TRC EDC back again with another knife video. So this is the Kershaw Epistle. This is actually a really underrated knife that I'm surprised does not get more respect in the knife community. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I like it and why it's a good value. And we're going to go ahead and do the good and the bad on this as well. I also want to mention this is available at dlttrading.com. As you guys know, I'm a DLT affiliate, so if you do end up wanting to buy this at the end of this review, please go ahead and use the links below. It will definitely help the channel while also costing you guys nothing. So thanks so much for taking a look at that. Let me go ahead and show you guys a couple size comparisons. Here is the CJRB Centros and the CJRB Rhea. As you can see, this is a lot closer in size to that Rhea. And this is kind of like Kershaw's answer to the Rhea. I know they came out around the same time. I think they're both about a year and a half old or so. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Kershaw Highball XL. As you can see, again, just a little bit bigger. There is a regular sized highball as well. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the CRKT LCK. Whoop. This is the older version of it, but the newer version's the same size. Let me see if I can get that to stand up. There we go. And this is the CRKT LCK large. So you can see the difference in size there. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the good and the bad. So the good right off the bat is this thing is light. You pick this up, you see it's an all metal construction, and you get the notion that this is probably going to be heavy. Not at all. This is actually really light. I was very surprised at how light it is. I was also very surprised, despite the washers here, you can see are Teflon washers. There may be some bronze washers in there also with the Teflon, but I can definitely see Teflon. My guess is, I haven't opened it up, my guess is it's just Teflon. But it's very smooth action despite the Teflon, which you don't usually see out of Kershaw's non-USA knives. This is made in China, by the way. So Kershaw has both Chinese knives and made in the USA knives. This is from the China line. And generally, I don't like knives from the China line, but this one actually is really good. Next, another thing I like about this is the blade shape. The blade shape on this is excellent. It is just, a decent amount of flat, decent amount of belly. It's just a really good drop point blade shape, and I really appreciate that. I have size large gloved hands, and it is actually a decent size for what it is. It's a little smaller than I normally carry, but it is a full 4-finger grip. And it fits well in hand. I would say the ergonomics, especially on something this skinny, are pretty good at about a 7 out of 10, which again, for something this skinny, I think is a really good rating. The thumb stud action on this and the detent is actually really good. As you can see, it comes out, rockets out. It doesn't have like a drop, shut blade, but that's because number one, it's on Teflon, like I said, and number two, it is the blade is just so light. It doesn't come down because it's so light. But it's actually pretty satisfying to close this because it is so incredibly smooth on the washers that it's on, which again is shocking. I also have to give Kershaw props for the clip here. I really don't like a lot of their clips where you can see on the side of the pocket when you have this in your pocket that you're carrying a Kershaw. Not that there's anything wrong with carrying a Kershaw, but I don't want people knowing, hey, it's a Kershaw in my pocket, right? So, or hey, it's a knife in my pocket, right? So people who have knives know, but people who don't have knives don't need to know it's a knife. So, or don't know knives don't need to know it's a knife. Here, it gives you sort of the best of both worlds because it's actually printed on the scale, as you can see, and it's done through a window on the clip. So when this is in your pocket, you're never going to see any of the writing on the blade. It just looks like this sticking up. Okay, so not much of a deal there. The pivot here, I think, is kind of interesting. It's not a regular standard pivot that you would see on most Kershaws, so I kind of like that actually. So I do like that. And the backspacer has a little bit of texturing on it, which I appreciate. I believe it's a plastic backspacer, which is what you can expect for this price. A couple things I don't like on this is, the clip. I think this is sort of asking for a deep carry clip. I know I don't really think everything needs to be a deep carry, but this in particular I think is asking for a deep carry clip. I don't think it's really a work knife where you need to grab it or anything. This is more of a discreet carry. Also the scales here, the reason they're light is because they're aluminum, but also they are, by the way, they're aluminum rather than steel, which I think is a great thing on here. So that's something I should have mentioned in the good, is that it's aluminum instead of steel. But on the bad side, there is absolutely no texturing on this at all, which makes it a little bit slick. It doesn't really slip out of your hands because of, you know, how it sort of sits in your hands, but I would have liked to see some texture on there, just a little bit. Also, the steel on this isn't great. It's ACR 13 MOV. ACR 13 MOV is, you know, kind of your, it's kind of a low-grade budget steel, and most of the knife community has moved on to, you know, D2 or 9CR 18 MOV, which are both better steels than 8CR 13 MOV. Even AUS 10 is a better steel in the budget realm. And so I would have liked to see, you know, some other steels on here, but for the price, you really can't complain too much. I didn't talk about the price in the good, but I probably should have. We'll get to the price at the end. So next thing that I don't necessarily like is the thumb stud is in the cutting path. So, you know, that's something you just have to work with, but the blade is long enough where it's not really so much of an issue. So that's good as well. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for the bad on this. There's not a whole lot of bad on this. It actually is a pretty good knife. And let's go ahead and talk about the price. The price on this is $33, which is a really good price actually for what you're getting. You're getting aluminum construction. You're getting a, you know, not the worst steel in the world. You're not getting 3CR or 7CR or anything. This is 8CR, so it's not terrible. Like I said, the action on this is nice and smooth, and it's at a better price point than a lot of other things, you know, that you might get. But, you know, the Kershaw XL here, Highball XL, is I think it's 50 or 60 bucks, so pretty much twice the price. The CGRB RIA, this version of it probably is the best competitor for this, because the flat scale version of this in G10 is going to be about 35 bucks, but this version's about 50, 55, something like that. This version has the RPM 9 steel, which is a powder metallurgy version of 9CR 18 MOV. I cannot recall if the original $35 version of this uses this steel or the 9CR 18 MOV that a lot of other things use, but just, you know, check and make sure before you buy. So another competitive option is going to be that LCK, the CRKT LCK. At around 30 bucks also is going to be this. It's going to have the action on here. Like I said, this is the older one that Ruger did with them. They're no longer doing it with Ruger, but it has that new sort of assist. And it comes in both this black version with the reverse Tonto blade and a drop point version like this, but just a little bit smaller. So anyway, these are some competitive options here. Any of these are a great choice at the, you know, $30 to $35 range. So I really do highly recommend any of these. If you're asking me to pick one, the CGRB RIA I think is a little bit better than the rest of the field here. But these two are very, very close. So, you know, very, very great knife by Kershaw for the price. Very underrated. I wish I actually saw more of this in the knife community. You know, great job, Kershaw. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the notification bell with the subscribe button if you haven't already, and go ahead and drop a comment below. Let me know if you have the epistle and what you think about it. Thanks so much.